Universal Music.
Every now and then a player comes along in the world of professional golf who is just a little above the rest. Not just someone who can hit the ball as clean as a whistle and as straight as a die, but someone who also has the character and the personality to dominate those around him in competitive play and impose his will on the game. The game has seen a few such characters over the years, and their names are engraved both in the minds of the golfing public and on the great trophies the sport has to offer. In 1992, one such name began to register with those who follow golf. A young South African called Ernie Els, who was winning everything in sight in that country, as well as achieving a top 10 finish in the Open. In 1993, he won in Japan, and in 1994 had the most sensational year any young player has experienced since the days of the young Jack Nicklaus, winning not only the US Open, the Toyota World Match Play, the Gene Sarazen World Open, and the Johnny Walker World Championship. Indeed, his success was already being compared with that of Jack Nicklaus, and the great man himself nominated Ernie as the player most likely to emulate his achievements. Described as the next golfing god by Curtis Strange, praised by Seve Ballesteros as a golfer from another planet, and hailed almost as his own discovery by Arnold Palmer, who first spotted Ernie's potential playing with him in the first round of the US PGA Championship at Belle Reve, New Orleans in 1992. Praise indeed. If Ernie's game has now proved itself in tests of fire on 5 continents, his secret is in his swing, one of the most controlled and graceful swings the professional game has seen. It is also a swing of awesome power, and it is to that magic combination of control and distance, the holy grail of golf, that this video is dedicated.
I was quite fortunate growing up in South Africa, you know. During my school years, I played a lot of sports. I played tennis, I played rugby, I played cricket. So I had a pretty good eye for a ball. You know, started playing golf when I was about 8 years old and just swinging the club around. And you know, I guess I'm just one of those fortunate people that developed a natural golf swing from an early age, and I just kept on working at it.
Ernie lives and relaxes in the warmth of South Africa's beautiful Cape Coast. And it was to his local club, the lovely Fancourt Hotel and Country Club Estate, that we came to film the video. No wonder that at every opportunity Ernie is prepared to jump on a plane and travel many hours to return here, to the land where he grew up and to the people who know him best, to revise and redraw his game as he does now for you all.
Looks pretty easy, doesn't it? Better. Hi. Now, when I play in pro-ams, and I play with the amateur golfers, they ask me this question quite a few times. How do you hit the ball that far and swing it that easy? Well, it's quite simple. You know, my fundamentals I have worked on for quite some time now, and it's helped me in my golf game. In this video, I want to help you get the right fundamentals. You know, buying the right equipment will surely help you, but buying a golf game, I don't think you can do that. So in this video, we're going to help you find the right fundamentals, and those fundamentals are going to help you hit the ball straighter and a lot further. Okay, our first fundamental for today is the grip. Now, I know what you want to do. You want to fast forward your tape now. Please don't. Put it on pause, go fetch a golf club, hurry back, and we'll work on the grip together. Okay, what we want to show you in this video is how to swing the club freely. Okay? Now, the only way you can do that is to have the correct grip. The two most common faults I see when I look at players' grips is the first one, where you can see my left hand as I grip the club. You can see all my knuckles on the left hand. When my right hand slides into the bottom, makes it a very strong grip. I used to play this way when I started the game. You're going to have a lot of problems. I'll show you why. As you take the club back and you come back down to the hitting area, you see my hands crossed over a little bit. This is more into a natural position where your hands should be. But look at my club face. The club face is aiming to the left, and this will cause the ball to curve from right to left and you get a hook. The other fault I see players make is when the left hand goes underneath the club a little bit. That is a very weak grip. The right hand slides over onto the top, and as I take the club back and I come through and into my hitting area again, you can see my hands want to get back to a natural position. This causes the club to slide open, and you'll see the ball curve off to the right. Now, the way we want to correct this is to get your two hands into a natural position. We don't want to be compensating in our swing all the time to correct our fault when we grip the club. Okay, we want to just have a natural swing where we can hit the ball consistently and straight. For the two faults we have here, you can't do that. So let's get back to the basics where we can grip the club correctly and we'll improve our game. Okay, now let's get down to serious business here. I'm going to show you the correct grip this time. You want to slide the club down, diagonally down the left palm of your left hand. Okay? You don't want to put it right in the middle of your left palm. That's going to restrict your backswing, where you've got to cock your wrists and you've got to release the club through the ball. So what you want to do, you want to put it down, diagonally down your left palm, close your fingers, slide your thumb just down the right-hand side of your shaft. You're going to see 2 to 2.5 knuckles on your left hand, okay? Now with your right hand, you want to face your right palm to the target where you're aiming at. Close your fingers, all right? You're going to see a V coming up straight up here to your right shoulder, all right? When you see that, you know you're gripping it correctly. You slide in your right palm, close your fingers, and again, you're going to see a V where you're actually going to feel like you're going to pull on the trigger of a gun, okay? So you slide it in there, and that's a pretty solid grip there, okay? You're going to see the 2.5 knuckles. It's going to feel pretty uncomfortable to start off with, but you got to do it. Now, the 3 different types of grips we find on tour these days, the most common one is this one, where you got to go overlap with your right hand. This is the one I use. You also find the interlock, where the guys who have little smaller hands or shorter fingers want to interlock to feel very comfortable and secure there. And the third one is the baseball. You also call it the hammer grip. Okay. Now with these 3 grips, with the right amount of grip pressure, you don't have to feel like you're going to kill the club. The right amount of grip pressure, it's going to feel a little uncomfortable, but please, this is going to help your game. You don't have to go back and take the club back and try and compensate to keep the club in square all the time. You can just go back and swing straight through. The club's going to stay square. You're going to hit more consistent golf shots. Another problem most amateurs have is alignment. You know, when you only play once a week, it's hard to find yourself aiming at the right target all the time. On the practice tee, you know, it might be quite easy when you have golf clubs. You can lie down and aim at your target and align yourself. But out here on a golf course, you're going to have a lot of penalty strokes when you start doing that. You know, what I do, I find a target maybe 20 yards in front of me, and that imaginary target goes all the way to my actual main target where I want to ball to end up at. So, you know, what I do is I find that target, I walk up to the ball, place the club behind the ball, aim it to this target right here, 20 yards in front of me, which is going to take me all the way down there. Take my stance, and when you're not really comfortable yet, you can take your club and align yourself this way. You know, you align the club and let the club go all the way down the target. When the club's aiming to the right, obviously you're a little bit closed, and when it's going a little to the left, obviously you're going to be a little open. So what you want to think of, you've got a line from your golf ball straight to your target. You've got a line from your feet straight through your target, and then obviously this line here. And these are all imaginary lines, and they should all run parallel to where you want to go. So when you do really feel comfortable and you're ready to go, spot on. Stance. When I think about my stance, I think about my shoulders. I like the inside of my feet to be the width of my shoulders. I've always done that in the past, and you know, I've always felt pretty comfortable with that. Where I see a lot of mistakes amateurs make is that they get a little closed. They get a little narrow with their feet, which means with a driver, when you're swinging pretty hard, you're going to lose your balance. You're going to sway off to the right, make a backswing, and sway through to the left. You go through. So you're going to be very inconsistent. Another mistake is the guys go very, very wide. You want to make a nice full shoulder turn, and with a very wide stance, you're not going to get past here. You want to make a 90-degree turn, you're going to have a very tough time getting back there. So what you want to do is you want to keep your stance very comfortable, as I said, the width of your shoulders. Another thing you want to think about is where to put your weight. On the driver, I put, let's say, 60% of my weight on my right leg and about 40 on my left. It makes a pretty good balance because you want to get most of your weight back to your right side. So that's a nice thing to think about. Another thing is where to put the ball in your stance. Most of the guys put the ball right on the left heel of their stance, and you know, a lot of mistakes I also see is when the guys put the ball too far forward. When you're too far forward, it opens your shoulders a lot, and you're swinging from out to in, so the ball could go in any direction. Another mistake is when you go too far on the inside of your stance. You're coming inside the plane, you're going outside, so you're going to get a right to left shot. So once again, let's go. Take our stance on the left heel, feel comfortable. Just work it straight down the middle every time. Okay, now let's move over to posture. Now I'm 6'3", so I'm pretty tall for this game. I had to really work hard at my posture to get myself really comfortable. I'd like to help you now. What I do, you grip the club, bring the club up about shoulder high, okay? Stay nice and tall. Now start bending your knees just a little bit as you bring the club down. Push out your backside just a little bit. Feel like you're going to be sitting on a pretty high chair. Now just hold that movement right there as you bring down the club. Okay, now you should feel pretty comfortable at the moment. What you want to do now is keep your chin up a little bit. Don't get too saggy down behind the ball because it's going to restrict your takeaway a little bit. So keep your chin up nice and high. It's going to make it nice and easy for you to make a nice free swing. Oh, just like that. On target every time.
As Ernie so rightly points out, you cannot cheat the fundamentals. You may get by for a while with all sorts of imperfections in your stance or your posture. You may even hit the most amazing one-off shots with a bad grip. You may feel you can always compensate for poor alignment with your hands or your arms, but you will never achieve consistency until you have the fundamentals consistently right. Practice your grip until it seems like the most natural way to hold a golf club anyone could ever have invented. Think of stance and posture as providing the platform on which the swing can take place unimpeded and well supported. Look how Ernie has trained his huge frame to a stable platform around which he swings with comfort and confidence. Nothing gets in the way. And as for ball position, well, it is probably the cause of more bad golf shots than any other single factor in the entire game. And in any target sport, what could be more important than alignment? Call it aiming, but remember, you do not aim your body at the target in golf, you aim your club face at the target. And just make sure that your feet, knees, hips and shoulders are all parallel to that ball to target line.
Going into the pin, and that could finish very, very close.
It has. Quite unbelievable.
As Ernie has shown, it is his perfection of these fundamentals of the game and a self-discipline that enables him to hold those fundamentals together in tournament play, that enables him to produce shots like this.
Perfect, right there.
Quite lucky that my dad knows the game pretty well, and he really hammered it down to me that your fundamentals have to be right. And getting down to the bottom line is right. Without a good grip, good stance, good posture, good rhythm, you're not going to hit the ball anywhere, and you're not going to hit it anywhere near your target. So, you know, there's one thing practicing a lot, but you have to practice the right things, the right fundamentals, and you know, that's the only way you can really help your swing improve. Okay, the swing at last. This is what we've all been waiting for. The golf swing, you know, we've got so many different kinds of golf swings on the tours nowadays, but most of the guys have the basic fundamentals right. We've spoken about the stance, the grip, and everything. Now we're going to put everything together. Take a nice, solid stance. Get your posture right. Your takeaway, I think, is all arms. Okay? Take it away with the arms. This left shoulder will push the arms away for you. From here, it's all shoulders. Turn the shoulders as far back as you can. It'll probably go back about 90 degrees. Your hips will turn probably almost 45 degrees, and this is about as far as you can go. From here, bringing the club down, don't snatch at the ball. Don't bring it down too quickly. You're not going to be hitting the ball from here. All right, so bring the club down pretty nice and smooth, and from here is where you're going to release the club on line straight through the ball. So remember, nice and smooth, going back. From here, you're going to take it back with the shoulders, think low and slow, and from there, bring it down slowly again and release through the ball. Let's try it. Pretty straight and pretty far. If you keep to the basics, to the fundamentals, you're going to hit it 320 yards, no problem. Right there. It's not too bad.
A little bit wider today. You can see just ahead of Ernie how it bottlenecks in down to about 20 meters or so. So more target area here.
Ernie's had a very long drive here. He's only got 227 to the flag. He hit it 32 meters past John Cook. Got a 3-wood. If he really flushes us, he should just be able to reach. Winds into him from the right, and he's hit a lovely shot.
He does. He'll be the first person today, and what a lovely shot that is. Absolutely magnificent.
In golf, there are almost as many swings as there are individuals playing the game. Of course, everyone is an almost unique combination of physique and temperament that will ultimately dictate the way they hit a golf ball. But in the dreams of golfers, there is only one swing, the classic swing, as handed down and refined by teachers of the game over 4 centuries. It is rare that one can accord the description classic swing to any golfer, but Ernie comes as close as anyone in the modern game. The takeaway is all arms, low and slow. The solid platform built by his stance and the posture remain firm. 60% of his weight on the right leg, yet his left heel remains on the turf. The advantage of youth. His head remains still. Ernie, one of the very few who can swing the club back with a left arm that remains ramrod straight. Yet he allows the wrist to cock naturally. From here, it is all shoulders. Nothing else changes as he simply turns away from the target. At the top of the backswing, this aerial view shows perfectly how his shoulders have turned through 90 degrees, his hips through 45 degrees. Note how his head has remained still, his eye on the ball, his mind concentrating on the trajectory and the shape of the shot he wishes to produce. From here, he can now allow the club to return naturally to the position it started from, knowing that if he does that, he will hit the ball perfectly. He has swung the club on a plane of about 35 degrees from vertical. Much is written and spoken about swing plane, but it may be difficult for many of us to know when we have achieved the correct swing plane. It is worth noting here that the angle of Ernie's swing plane is not actually the angle of the club shaft at his set-up position. It is actually the angle of the club shaft at the point of impact with the ball. The relaxed position of the arms and the dropping of his hands in the set-up position is essential to help him generate arm and wrist action in the swing, and hence gain distance. Let's just look at the top of Ernie's swing. If we draw a line from the ball up to just underneath the left arm and over the top of his right shoulder, we find the shaft of the club. This is Ernie's swing plane, and if he retains this plane on returning the club to the ball, he will bring the club from inside the ball to target line to square to the line at impact. This is the correct path of the club to follow to produce a straight hit. Almost every aspect of the swing is designed to produce this simple result. Several things are going to help Ernie maintain his club on the correct path. Firstly, he has kept his shape. He has maintained a solid base. He has transferred his weight correctly to his right side, with the right knee holding firm. Secondly, He will not throw the club at the ball from the top of the backswing. As Ernie says, the acceleration only starts about halfway down. Thirdly, Ernie effects a smooth transfer of weight from his right to his left side. It takes a great deal of nerve to retain your swing and natural rhythm under the intense pressure of a major championship like the United States Open. But look how perfectly Ernie does that here with his 7-iron to Oakmont's 15th green.
That is a great shot. That was from 195 yards, Jack, out of a pretty tough lie.
Yeah, but he's so strong.
The governing characteristics of the swing apply no matter which club in the bag you are using. Ernie now shows us how the basic technique works with the long, middle, and short iron.
Okay, now that we got the driver into play, you might be faced with an approach shot with this club, the 2-iron. Now, most of you guys might believe that this is your worst nightmare. But believe me, if you can use the loft on your club and stick with the basics I'm going to show you now, you're going to hit a lot better 2-irons. What we want to do with a 2-iron, we don't want to change our stance too much from the driver or 3-wood. We want to use our ball positioning, which is going to be on our left heel, and you don't want to be trying to help the ball get airborne. In other words, you don't want to stay on your right leg and try and help the ball up. We've got enough loft here to get the ball out there quite a long distance and keep it accurate. You also don't want to try and hit into the ball to try and get the ball further down the fairway or to the green. So what we want to do, we want to use the loft on our 2-iron. We want to keep our backswing nice and wide and smooth. Take our normal backswing, nice and rhythmic, and through the ball. All right? Let's try another one. So we keep our ball positioning on our left heel. We use the loft on the club. Just make a normal, nice, smooth swing. As you can see, I never took any divot here. Swept the ball away, got airborne, and it's on target. I believe that this club can become your secret weapon in your golf bag. Here we are with a 6-iron now. This is one of our middle irons. The only difference here is the length of our shaft and the loft. We're not going to change our swing at all. The only things that are going to change is my ball positioning. It's not going to be on my heel anymore. It's going to be moved back in my stance, a little further back, almost to the middle. Okay? Why is that? Because of the shaft and the loft of my club. The shaft's a little shorter, and I've got more loft. So in other words, I'm going to be moving a little closer to the ball. The ball positioning is a little further back. My swing don't change. The only thing that's going to happen, because I'm closer to the ball, my swing's going to become a little bit more upright. And from there, I'm going to be hitting a little bit further down on the ball. I'm going to take a little bit of a divot, and the ball should come out in a good trajectory and on target every time. Let's see if it works. So I stand a little closer to the ball, move it a little back in my stance, never change the swing. Just like that, you'll hit a lot more greens and give yourself a lot more birdie opportunities. Okay, we've come a little closer to our target now. I've selected a 9-iron, which is one of our short irons. I want to hit this club very accurately. You know, I want to get the ball close to the flag so I can have a good opportunity for my birdie putt. So what I want to do here is, I do not want to overpower this club. I've got my yardage to the target. Now I've selected my 9-iron because I don't want to overpower a wedge or hit an 8-iron too softly. The shaft got a little shorter. I've got more loft on the club this time. So my swing is actually going to get even steeper now because I'm getting closer to the ball. I'm going to take a little bigger divot this time because I'm hitting more down and through the ball. Okay? But once again, you don't want to overpower this club. Make the same swing as you've done on the 2 and 6 irons. My ball positioning has moved back into my stance. Okay? My club's going to go back a little bit more steep. It's going to become a little shorter because of the short iron. I'm going to hit through the ball with a bit more divot. Let's see if it works. So remember, keep the swing the same. The clubs will do the job for you. In this segment, we want to show you guys how to hit the ball really big, hit it past your partners in your 4-ball, and reach those par 5s and 2 shots. You don't really have to be very big and strong to hit the ball a very long way, but we need a good technique. It's all going to start with a stance. When you want to hit the ball longer, think width all the time. We're going to make our stance a little wider when you want to hit the ball a little bigger, but not too wide so that you don't have a big swing where you can't turn your shoulders too much, because you want to make at least a 90-degree turn with your shoulders. Another thing you want to think about is you want to keep the club pretty low to the ground. You want to really remember that you've got to take it back quite slowly. And think width, as I say. You want it as wide as you can take it back. You're going to make a nice big arc, because the wider you take it back, the bigger your swing is going to become, the bigger your follow-through is going to become, and the bigger your shot's going to be. So let's try one. Take a nice wide stance. Be comfortable over the ball. Get your chin up a little bit. And now we're going to take it back slowly and big. Well, that's not too bad, that one. So as you address the golf ball, put it on your left heel. Okay? Relax your legs, your body, and just swing it big. It's really not all that hard. You got to think about, you got to move your chest away from the ball a little bit, get your shoulder underneath your chin, and just keep everything pretty slow. Widen your stance, widen your backswing, and make a big turn. Right down the middle. And I'll show you this last one, where you can hit the ball big again. Tee the ball up really high, okay? You can hover the club a little bit behind the ball, and just take your time. Open your shoulders, your stance just a little bit, give yourself time, and make a nice big turn again. Believe me, you'll be hitting it past your playing partners in your 4-ball, and you're going to reach those par 5s and 2. Okay, now let's recap on a couple of things I just showed you. One of the really important things I think you should know is how to hover the club just above the ground, behind the ball. This will help you to get the club back in a really smooth manner and get it to the top really smooth where you can accelerate through the ball. But I see a lot of problems the guys have is that they leave the club on the ground, and that makes them to try and pull the club away quickly. You know, the secret is we've got to take the club back slowly and then accelerate from the top through the ball. This way, if you start quickly, you're going to come back to the ball really slow. So let's see how it works. Hover the club just above the ground, behind the ball, and this will help you to take it back smooth. That worked for me. You know, a lot of times when I play in pro-ams and my amateur partners hit bad shots, they say, keep your head down. I agree. You want to keep your head down, but you don't want to keep your head down this way. Okay? That is keep your head down, but it's going to restrict your backswing in a way because you're going to be taking it back this way. Okay? It's going to restrict your backswing, and it might cause you to make a reverse pivot. What I suggest you do, bring your chin up a little bit. Your head is still going to be down facing the ball, but bring your chin up a little bit. That's going to help you make a nice smoother turn and get your left shoulder under your chin. This is going to make you make a nice big turn, about a 90-degree turn, and you can hit the ball a long way that way. Let's see if it works. So take your normal stance, bring your chin up just a little bit. I believe that's going to work for you, and you're going to hit the ball a lot better and a lot longer.
It's reassuring to we lesser mortals that even the best players make mistakes. In the 1994 Masters, Ernie certainly made one that he will remember for a long, long time. But as Ernie explains, while striving to improve our game, we can and should regard our mistakes as part of the learning process.
Yeah, I would say my most damaging shot must have been at the US Masters last year, in 1994. Well, I had an outside chance of winning the golf championship. I mean, I was 3 shots behind with 6 to go, and I knew if I could have made a couple of more birdies coming in, you know, post a score on the scoreboard, you never know what can happen. I got to number 13 there. I chose a 3-wood. 13 is a hole where it goes from right to left, which is perfect for me, especially the way I hit my 3-wood. But, you know, I just try to cut off too much of the corner there and, you know, just pulled it way left. You know, the club face closed too quickly, and I swung it way too quick. So, you know, everything just went to the left, and the ball went straight left with a draw, and I had to go back to the tee and made 6 there and ended my championship hopes. So in a way, you know, what happened to me at the US Masters was, at that time, devastating for me. But, you know, as it turned out, it was a blessing in disguise. You know, I made similar mistakes after then, but I learned from that. And, you know, if the guys are listening at home now, you know, you should learn from your mistakes. Go to the practice tee and work on your mistakes. The better you can make your mistakes, you know, the good part of your game is always going to be there. And the bad part, if you can make that better, you're going to be such a better golfer. So what happened to me at the US Masters was, at that time, quite devastating for me, but it worked out later for me when I won the US Open.
Ernie's rhythm is perhaps the most immediately obvious key to his control and powerful swing. He seems to have all the time in the world to hit the ball. Rhythm is perhaps one of the hardest things for the average club golfer to master, but one of the most crucial. Ernie makes it sound all too simple.
Okay, so here we are, back in sunny South Africa. Sun's out, and let's talk about rhythm. We get the 2 types of rhythm. We get the slow and the quick. I'm one of the slow guys, so I'm going to try and show you my method of getting good slow rhythm. What I do, I take my normal stance, I put the club down, hover the club maybe just above the ground. As I take the club away, I count to 1. As I get to the top of my backswing, I count to 2. And as I'm coming down to the hitting area, I count to 3. So let's take a practice swing. It's 1 there, 2 to the top, 3 as you're going to hit the ball. Let's try it. One, two, three. That's pretty much on target. Now the quicker guys, as I said, like Lanny Watkins, you got to go on a different method. I believe that you got to take the club back. As you take the club back to the backswing, you count to 1. As you're coming down to the hitting area, you count to 2. Let's see if it works. So let's take a practice swing. Hover the club again above the ground. 1 to the back, 2 as you're hitting it. Okay? One, two. I believe if you go with these 2 methods, it's going to improve your rhythm immensely. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about shaping the golf ball. By now you'll know what your natural shot should be, whether it's a fade or a draw. If it's a fade, I suggest you tee the ball up on the right-hand side of the tee box, meaning that you don't want to be teeing it up on the left-hand side, which won't give you a lot of fairway to work with. If you tee it up on the right-hand side, you've got to have a lot of fairway, open fairway on the left, where you can shape the ball from the left-hand side of the fairway into the middle. If you don't get the fade going, you're still going to end up on the left-hand side of the fairway, where there you're going to be hitting it straight into trouble. So I suggest you tee it up on the right and hit that natural shot of yours, which will be a fade. Let's see if it works. Take your aim on the left-hand side of the fairway, make your natural swing and shoot fade. You see, you give yourself a lot more room to work with, work the ball into the fairway. Now, on the other extreme, with the draw, you don't want to be teeing it up here because you've got no fairway. You're going to be aiming it into the right rough. If the ball doesn't hook, you're going to be ending up in the rough. So tee it up on the left-hand side of the tee box. You take your aim on the right-hand side of the fairway, and your natural shot should bring the ball into the middle of the fairway. Okay? See if it works. If your shot is a natural hook from here, you'll end up in the fairway and it will save you a lot of strokes. Well, as you can see, we've got quite a big obstacle in front of us here. We've got ourselves into this situation where I pulled my drive to the left. I'm behind the tree here, and I've got water all around the green. So I can't go underneath the tree. I have to go around it because it's too high to go over the tree. So I'm going to try and curve the ball from right to left around this tree and get it to my target. How are we going to do that? We've closed our stance here, as you can see. We've closed our shoulders. The whole stance is very closed. Even the club face is closed now. We're going to bring the club inside the line, up to the top. And remember, when we're coming down, we're going to keep it inside the line. And from here, we're going to cross over our wrists and go from an in to an out motion, where the club's also going to cross over and the ball's going to turn from right to left. Okay, we get our line. just right of the green. Our ball positioning is just inside the left heel. And we're going to take the club inside to out. You'll get a draw most of the time, and if you aim correctly, you're going to get it onto target. So give it a try. Okay, so here we are. We got a complete opposite problem from where we had to hook the ball around the tree. Now we have a tree on the right-hand side. We have to fade it around the tree this time. You can see the target of where I'm going, where the flag is on the right, just straight over the tree. I can't go over the tree. I can't go under the tree again. My only option is to fade the ball around this tree. So as I say, it's the complete opposite from the hook. You guys should actually have quite a ball with this shot, because I find it a little easier than the hook shot. What we're going to do here is, this time we want to open everything up. From where I was closed with a hook shot, I want to open everything up. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the club outside the line. I'm going to bring the club up. It's going to come up a little steeper than the hook shot. From here I want to keep that angle. Remember to keep that angle open. And my arms and hands should stay ahead of the ball when I hit the shot. And from there I want to drive right through the ball, through to the left, and put enough spin on this ball so that the ball can curve from left to right. But it's very important for you to know that you've got to keep this angle here. If your hands go behind the ball, you're going to flick it over and the ball's going to go even further left. So we're going to keep that angle straight up outside the line, bring it down, and drive through the ball. It'll give you a left to right angle. Club face should stay a little open, outside to in. Well, just like that. You'll find your target, you'll get a nice curve from left to right, and you'll hit the ball pretty close to the flag, and you'll make a par easily from here.
To summarize then, you close up on the ball to draw it around, and you open up to fade it in. The real secret in these shots is to swing easy, something Ernie does so well. Ernie once played with Seve Ballesteros a round of golf which has been described as possibly one of the greatest rounds of competitive golf ever played. It came in the 1994 World Match Play Championship at Wentworth. Although the round with Seve was pure magic, one of Ernie's finest shots in that tournament came in the final match against Colin Montgomery, when, at the 16th hole, in trouble off the tee, he curved the ball 150 yards to the green, out of deep rough, around a huge tree, and then holed the putt for a birdie. It was a kind of recovery of which Seve himself would have been proud, and the secret to which Ernie shares with us now.
On 16, I went with a 2-iron off the tee, and I just pulled it to the left of the fairway. I think I was in the semi-rough there, and there was the trees overhanging the left-hand side, and the pin was front left. So I had to hit this big hook around the trees, and I only had about 150 yards to go. So I took an 8-iron, and I closed the club face down. I moved my whole stance out to the right. I closed everything up, my shoulders, my hips, even my stance, everything. And I moved the ball back into my stance to about middle of my stance, and I found a target out there where I had to aim at to draw the ball in. And I hit this 30-yard hook shot with an 8-iron, and it worked out perfect. Ran up to about 8 feet behind the hole, and that was good enough for me to win the World Match Play. And you know, that was a good feeling. Well, as you can see, I missed the fairway, yeah. But at least I've got quite a decent lie in the fairway bunker here. I'm about 155 yards away from my target, away from the green. I've selected a 7-iron here. What I want to do here is I want to hit the ball very cleanly. I don't want to take too much sand. Now, how do I do that? You place the ball maybe in the middle of your foot here, on your left heel. You want to leave your weight on your right side a little bit, so that you can hit from down up onto the ball. You don't want to take too much sand, so you don't want to leave all your weight on your left side, because from there you're going to be hitting down into the ball, into the sand, and you're not going to hit the ball anyway. So you're going to either hit it too deep, or you're going to spin out of it and hit the ball thin. So you want to keep your weight on your right side, and just make a normal swing. Don't change your swing at all. Just make a nice big turn and hit up on the ball, and you're going to lift the ball out the sand very clean. Let's try it. Well, as you can see, I never took any sand out of the bunker. The ball came out nice and high, and I'm on the green. Try it.
One of the features of Ernie's game which so impresses is that as well as being able to crunch drives awesome distances, he also possesses a delicacy of touch with his short irons.
Okay, we get to the 80 to 90 yard pitch shot. I normally use this club. It's a 56-degree wedge. This club is a very controlled shot. You're not making a very full turn. You're just going to make a 3/4 turn and 3/4 through. The backswing is exactly as the follow through. I don't want to stand too square to this ball, okay, because you can't make a very full turn like in my normal golf swing. You want to open your left side a little bit, because you're only swinging it 3/4 of the way. You want to keep the club moving all the time, and you don't want the club to cross over ever. So in other words, you're going to take your backswing 3/4, keep the angle. As you're coming down, keep that angle. You're going to make a nice crisp contact, and as you come through, you're going to hold it 3/4 of the way. All right? Let's try it. You want to get your ball positioning almost on the middle of your stance, and just 3/4. Work on this method, and I'm sure you're going to bring down your score by at least 4 shots around. Okay, I guess that's a wrap for us. Hopefully we have improved your golf game, we have improved your golf swing a little bit, and hopefully you can go out to the golf course now, have lots of fun, and win some money from your friends.
Although he has already experienced major success, Ernie is still only at the beginning of a long and glittering career in golf. He probably has the potential to win more tournaments and more majors than anyone ever in the history of the game. If he does so, it will not be simply as the result of some God-given talent, but as the result of dedicated application to learning and perfecting the game, hard work, and a disciplined attitude to applying his know-how on the golf course, whether in a social game with friends or in a major championship. In our own more modest ways, we could all do well to follow the example of this young giant who has come to us out of Africa.